The Grumman TBF Avenger, also known as TBM for aircraft manufactured by General Motors, is a legendary American World War II-era torpedo bomber that has been used by several air and naval aviation services around the world. This aircraft was initially developed for the United States Navy and Marine Corps, and it has proven to be one of the most effective and widely used torpedo bombers of its time. The Douglas TBD Devastator was a torpedo bomber that was introduced by the US Navy in 1935. However, by 1939 it was already obsolete. The Navy accepted bids from several companies, and Grumman's TBF design was chosen as the replacement for the outdated TBD. In April 1940, the Navy ordered 2 prototypes of the ex-TBF-1, which was designed by Leroy Grumman. Despite one of the prototypes crashing near Brentwood, New York, rapid production continued. The Avenger, which was the heaviest single-engined aircraft of World War II, was designed to replace the outdated TBD. It was only the USAAF's P-47 Thunderbolt that came close to equaling it in maximum loaded weight among all single-engined fighters. The Avenger was designed to ease carrier storage concerns, and it used the new Stow-Wing patented compound angle wing folding mechanism, which maximized storage space on an aircraft carrier. The engine used was the twin-row Wright R2620 twin-cyclone 14-cylinder radial engine, which produced 1,900 horsepower. The Avenger had 3 crew members, a pilot, turret gunner, and radio man who acted as the bombardier and ventral gunner. It had a single synchronized 30 caliber machine gun mounted in the nose, a 50 caliber gun mounted next to the turret gunner's head in a rear-facing electrically powered turret, and a single 30 caliber hand-fired machine gun flexibly mounted ventrally. Later models of the TBF omitted the cowl mount synchronized 30 caliber gun and replaced it with twin Browning 50 caliber light barrel guns. The Avenger had a large bomb bay, allowing for one Bliss-Leavitt Mark 13 torpedo, a single 2,000-pound bomb, or up to 4 500-pound bombs. The Grumman Avenger was an ideal command aircraft for Air Group due to its good radio facilities, docile handling and long range. It had a 30,000 feet ceiling and a fully loaded range of 1,000 miles, making it better than any previous American torpedo bomber and better than its Japanese counterpart, the obsolete Nakajima B-5N Kate. Later Avenger models carried radar equipment for anti-submarine warfare and airborne early warning roles. Despite its impressive capabilities, the Avenger was often referred to as the Turkey by escort carrier sailors due to its size and maneuverability, in comparison to the F-4F Wildcat fighters in the same air groups. On the afternoon of December 7, 1941, Grumman conducted a ceremony to inaugurate a new manufacturing plant and showcase the new TBF aircraft to the public. Coincidentally, on the same day, the Imperial Japanese Navy launched an attack on Pearl Harbor, which Grumman soon became aware of. Following the ceremony, the plant was promptly secured to prevent any potential acts of sabotage. By early June 1942, over 100 aircraft were shipped to the Navy, but arrived too late to participate meaningfully in the crucial Battle of Midway, as the 3 carriers had already departed from Pearl Harbor. During the Battle of Midway, 6 TBF-1S were present on Midway Island as part of Torpedo Squadron 8, while the rest of the squadron flew Devastators from the aircraft carrier Hornet. Both types of torpedo bombers suffered significant losses, with 5 out of the 6 Avengers being shot down, and the remaining one returning heavily damaged with 1 gunner killed and the other gunner and pilot wounded. Some experts, such as author Gordon Prang, suggested that the outdated Devastators and lack of new aircraft contributed to the US's incomplete victory at Midway, while others pointed to the inexperienced American pilots and lack of fighter cover as the main reasons for the poor showing of US torpedo bombers, regardless of type. However, as the war progressed and American air superiority grew, Avengers played vital roles in subsequent battles against Japanese surface forces. At the Eastern Solomons Naval Aircraft Carrier Battle on August 24, 1942, 24 TBFs sank the Japanese light carrier Ryujo and claimed 1 dive bomber at the cost of 7 aircraft. The first major success for the Avengers was at the Naval Battle of Guadalcanal in November 1942, when Marine Corps and Navy Avengers helped sink the Japanese battleship Hiei, which had already been crippled the night before. After producing hundreds of the original TBF-1 models, Grumman began to phase out production of the Avenger in 1943 to focus on producing F-6F Hellcat fighters. The Eastern Aircraft Division of General Motors took over production, and the aircraft was designated TBM. The TBM-3, with a more powerful power plant and wing hardpoints for drop tanks and rockets, was the most numerous of the Avengers, with about 4,600 produced. However, most of the Avengers in service were Dash 1s until near the end of the war in 1945. Avengers were effective in torpedoing surface ships and claimed about 30 submarine kills, including the cargo submarine I-52. They were one of the most effective sub-killers in the Pacific theater, as well as in the Atlantic, when escort carriers were finally available to escort Allied convoys. After the Marianas Turkey shoot, in which more than 250 Japanese aircraft were downed, Admiral Mark Mitcher ordered a 220-aircraft mission to find the Japanese task force. The group of Hellcats, TBF, TBMs and dive bombers took many casualties, but Avengers from the USS Belleau Wood sank the light carrier Hayo as their only major prize. The Avenger has the proud distinction of sinking of the two Japanese super battleships, with the US Navy having complete air superiority in both engagements, the Musashi and Yamato. The Avenger aircraft was utilized by the Fleet Air Arm of the Royal Navy, initially referred to as the Tarpon. The first test flights were conducted by British Admiralty test pilot Roy Sidney Baker Faulkner at RAF Boscombe Down. However, the name Tarpon was later discontinued, and the Avenger name was adopted instead, as part of the Fleet Air Arm's process of universally adopting the US Navy's names for American naval aircraft. The first 402 aircraft were known as Avenger Mark I, and the 334 TBM-1s from Grumman were called the Avenger Mark II. A further 334 TBM-3s were designated the Mark III. Notably, a Royal Navy Avenger destroyed a V-1 flying bomb on the 9th of July 1944, and in the January 1945 British carrier raid on the Soengai Garong oil refinery during Operation Meridian, a Fleet Air Arm Avenger shot down a Nakajima Ki-44 Tojo in low-level combat over the jungle. Under the U.S. Mutual Defense Assistance Program, 100 USN TBM-3E Avengers were supplied to the Fleet Air Arm in 1953. The aircraft were shipped from Norfolk, Virginia, many aboard the Royal Navy aircraft carrier HMS Perseus. The Avengers were fitted with British equipment by Scottish Aviation and delivered as the Avenger AS-4 to several FAA squadrons. The Royal New Zealand Air Force also used the type primarily as a bomber, equipping No. 30 and 31 squadrons, both operating from South Pacific Island bases during 1944 in support of the Bougainville campaign. The Royal Canadian Navy obtained 125 former US Navy TBM-3E Avengers from 1950 to 1952 to replace their Fairey Fireflies. However, the RCN soon realized the Avengers' shortcomings as an anti-submarine warfare aircraft, and in 1954 they elected to replace the AS-3 with the Grumman S-2 tracker. As delivery of the new license-built CS-2F trackers began in 1957, the Avengers were shifted to training duties and were officially retired in July 1960. Interestingly, during wartime TBM Avengers were used in research into counter-illumination camouflage. The planes were fitted with Yehudi lights, a set of forward-pointing lights automatically adjusted to match the brightness of the sky, allowing the planes to appear as bright as the sky, rather than as dark shapes. The technology, a development of the Canadian Navy's diffused lighting camouflage research, allowed an Avenger to advance to within 3,000 yards before being seen. Even after the war, the Avenger remained in use until the 1960s, thanks to its versatility and adaptability. It underwent significant modifications to keep up with changing technology and warfare tactics, making it a reliable and effective aircraft for decades. Famously, Flight 19, a group of 5 American Avengers, disappeared on December 5, 1945, and was later added to the Bermuda Triangle legend. The Grumman TBF Avenger is a true American hero that has proven its worth time and time again. Its impressive combat record and longevity are a testament to its power and versatility.